cool, huh? This week, week 85, sees the bar room finally taking shape. Most of the drywall goes up, insulation goes in, and the final mechanical pieces are installed. I'm cheating a little bit. Not all of the work you see here, like these lights, gets finished in week 85, but the bar really sees a huge transformation this week. So without further ado, let's dive right on in. Week 85 begins with the final framing on the stairs. The stairs will have a half wall on the south side with balusters, and that will let as much light into the bar area as possible from the skylights above. This is going to require a bunch of 2x4s cut at 36 and 54 degrees. And since I can't cut a degree that sharp on either my table saw or my compound miter saw, I need to make a little jig that will boost the 45-degree angle up to 54. So I've cut this little piece that I can put against the back fence and then clamp it in place, and that'll allow me to cut my 2x4s at 54 degrees. So I'm getting things cut out and giving things a quick test here. Now that I've checked the performance and the accuracy of these cuts, I go ahead and assembly line all of them. With all of the 54-degree pieces cut, I can move on to the 36-degree pieces, which are a lot easier with this blade tilt. I did all the math to calculate the heights for the studs that need to frame this wall, but I also clamped these two 2x4s in place so I could just double check it. I really like these simple solutions where I can check my math because sometimes I make errors or things are just a little bit off, so with this in place, I can tackle the cuts tomorrow. The more I work on my house, the more I use my laser level. Here, I'm using it to mark the top location for my studs 16 inches on center. It's kind of a weird angle, and the laser level makes it easy peasy. With those marks in place, I can cut my boards to length and rough fit them, and when everything looks good, I'll nail it all together. I like my walls to fit tight, but this one fit a little bit too tight. In the end, I got it in place, which allows me to keep going tomorrow. I start the day by slipping in some of my drywall. This is one of those things where you do it here, it's going to be nice and easy. It would be nearly impossible to do it down the road. On Saturday, I take a day off from the house to run Colorado Springs' inaugural Ring the Springs race. I'm running the 17-mile race, and it was a really hot day, about 98 degrees, and it runs through Garden of the Gods around Colorado Springs. Very beautiful, very hot. Just hit 8 miles. 8 to 9 miles is the steepest. 800 feet. Here we go. Okay, made it up the hill. Hit the aid station, had a couple slices of watermelon, some cold water. It's awesome. Apparently I'm in second. There is a girl who's doing amazing right on my butt. And there's another dude right behind her. So
We'll see. About 8 or 9 to go. Alright guys, we're done. Zoe behind me there beat me, and another dude, Ray, back there in the red shorts, both crushed me by a few minutes. I don't know how much, but they beat me. So anyways, third overall. Cool race. Gonna go get some water.
On Sunday, Dad and Kendall came up to help me, and we're trying to get to a place where we can start drywalling this basement room. So we start out by anchoring down the stairs. I realized I probably want a couple of outlets on that south half wall, so I run the electricals. There's a little bit of blocking that needs to be put in so that we can hang drywall on all the ceiling pieces. A little bit more drywall on the insides of the stairs. Just anywhere that's going to need to be completed before we can put drywall on the ceilings, we knock that out. Once everything's prepped and we have our blocking in place, we start cutting the first piece. I had a bunch of 12-foot sheets and 8-foot sheets, which was going to be perfect for this room. Again, this will be the bar area. You can see I've already got my 6 gimbal lights wired up for lighting. And as we go, we're going to drill those holes and keep the lights installed both for a work light, but also just to make sure everything's lined up. You can see there's a lot of lights in this room, so for now we're only cutting out the gimbal lights and those 3 gang boxes for the hanging lights eventually, but there's 2 other rows of lights. 10 more lights that are 4-inch recessed lights, and those are actually going to be RGB lights. The room went together pretty quickly, and thanks to the drywall lift, we got everything on the ceiling. After my dad and Kendall take off, I'll spend the rest of the week finishing the room. I should have put this vapor barrier up beforehand, but I forgot about it, and at least I could get it in later. And this puts me in a really good spot to start on the insulation, which you'll see me doing next. I'm using rock wool insulation. I'll be honest, I got this stuff 50% off at Lowe's when they were closing their Superior store, but also it turns out this stuff is really nice to work with. You can just cut it with a knife or a serrated blade. It cuts beautifully, and it has R15 insulation value, which gets me up to code in Colorado, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. I think it looks really good, so I can start hanging drywall. When I hang drywall, I like to start with the trickiest wall, just get it out of the way. And you can see this south wall has a ton of cutouts. It has a gang box for a TV and multiple gangs for multiple circuits for the kitchen. Basically, this is going to be a second kitchen, so we'll have stove gangs and independent kitchen 120 volts. After that's done, the bottom goes pretty quick and easy. It's getting pretty late in the day, so to end out the evening, I bring all the remaining drywall downstairs so that it's ready to go for the next days. I have just enough energy left this evening to finish up the stairs and this newel post and do a little cleanup around the basement. The south wall here is quite solid, but this newel post, I wasn't able to embed it into the concrete or into any studs like you typically do with a newel post. But since it's a newel post, I wanted it to be rock solid, so I got a ton of lag screws and really secured it into that wall. And in the end, I'm really happy with it. It's not going anywhere. With that done, I can finish drywalling the south side of that half wall. I didn't quite finish all the drywall downstairs this week, but the bar is the final room, and so we'll see you back next week to finish up the bar.